Hello, welcome to ACE Manager. IT Focus, ACE 13, What are online applications? In my previous podcast, we have noted phenomenal developments in information technology over the decades brought computers close to the users. Let us attempt to understand not so visible facts about what contributed to these developments. We all know that information is stored in computers in files. We can visualize these files as similar to flat files or box files which we use to maintain records. Individual records in a computer file are similar to papers which we punch and arrange in a manual flat file. Only difference is that individual records in the computer file are of uniform length and are similar to each other in structure. Data used to be recorded in punch cards and card readers were deployed to transfer the content into the computer memory or other storage media like magnetic tapes for eventual processing by the computer. Here, method and sequence of accessing records by the computer is to be noted. Initially, it was called sequential mode of access. This meant reading the first record in the file, processing it in the required manner, and moving on to the next record. But if we wanted to directly read the 100th record in a file, computer was required to essentially read and skip the 99 records before it reached the required record. Sequential access mode had limitations to process data only if you have to act on some of the contents. For example, in a store, there may be 5,000 items in stock. In a day, 100 items have fresh receipts for the day. To update the status of these 100 items, computer needed to read 5,000 records, which was inefficient. Still, computers were good to use for high volume transactions. This is done by bunching up, say, all receipts and issues for a month to process an inventory ledger for the month. Manually, this could have been a mammoth task. Payroll was another application which could be processed using sequential mode of file access. We briefly discussed what happens in a payroll application. Say of a large establishment employing 1,000 employees. We create a payroll master where individual salary details of 1,000 employees are preserved. We capture their attendance and paid holidays for the month, relevant for computing their earnings for the month. Thus, payroll is processed once a month. The two examples I shared of inventory accounting and payroll were called batch processing applications. While there have been many noteworthy innovations in the field of information technology, those days, what impressed me most was invention of a floppy or a hard disk. This invention enabled online applications. Let me explain the concept with a simple example. Suppose we are listening to songs in a tape recorder. If you wanted to directly listen to the fifth song in the tape, you needed to skip the 4 songs before it. But if it is a gramophone LP record player, you can straightaway place the cursor on the fifth song, without going through the 4 songs before it. Floppy or hard disk is similar to the gramophone LP, which enabled index sequential file access and led to the development of online applications. In the example we discussed about inventory, we could simply select the records of the 100 items received during the day and update their stock status without touching the rest of the records in the file. This was efficient as well as up-to-date in recording transactions. On a similar concept, railway reservation systems were developed. In my subsequent podcasts, I shall share with you how these and other developments helped in enhancing the scope of computerized applications. Thank you for your attention.